What up, y'all? Rap Critic here, and this was an indie self-requested review. And if you'd like to make a request for a review or a live stream listen, check out my Ko-fi at ko-fi.com/rapcritic. So let's talk about reviewing independent music.
Oh my god! I can't believe this!
Alright, so as an example, let's take this indie song from a little over a decade ago that went semi-viral apparently a few times this past couple years. Now, some folks, of course, gave the track harsh reviews for its abrasive amateur sound, and apparently some other folks said it wasn't that bad. I don't know, I think they're being too nice, but whatever. Now, personally, I'm sure he didn't mind people critiquing his music. At least he'd better not, because, like, as an independent artist who's been making shit for years that they probably didn't think anyone would give a shit about, it's probably weirdly satisfying to see people give it some attention, even if it is polarizing. That said, when it comes specifically to independent musicians, for me, I don't take much joy in ripping apart their songs. It feels sort of unfair to aim the same level of venom to tear down an average person trying to put a music project together versus a famous person on a powerful record label who's got resources and is gonna be fine regardless of what anyone says. That's why, even if I review an indie artist negatively, I still want to give them props for their ambition. Because on a fundamental level, if an indie artist's music sounds awkward or unfinished, hey, that's a normal guy with a job who has bills to pay, and maybe doesn't have the time and resources to make a song as perfect as he wants it to be. But to all you mainstream artists out there, well, what the hell is your excuse? You guys have time. You have the resources to produce things exactly to the specs you want it to, and yet and still so often so much of it is so awful. That's what's enjoyable to me about ripping on mainstream artists. They can make better music, but if the shit they make is catchy enough, they don't have to. So they have no excuse when they catch these critical hands. With indie artists, though, they kind of just don't have a choice but to make do with what they have. All that said, this person did pay me to review this, so hey, if you're giving me money to give you my opinion of your shit, look, that's fair game at that point. Even so, while I'll have my criticisms, I want to use this episode as a type of rap coaching session to explore from a song crafting perspective what to pay attention to when crafting your rhymes. Because as you all now know, I'm well aware of how hard it is to make a rap song. I mean, shit, I'm a music critic who also makes music and isn't afraid of criticism.
Oh my god! I can't believe this!
Dun 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 indeed. Now, even with the janky mixing and wacky beat work that comes with a limited budget, a big piece of the puzzle for me was learning how to write and deliver my lyrics better. And recognizing that is why I went to college music programs at UNCSA School of the Arts and got a master's degree in voice training from U of Maryland. And while studying, I found just how much virtually all of those classical music training skills mapped onto the writing and vocal delivery techniques it takes to rap, which has helped me in sharpening my flows and writing. Or wait, it's helped master artisan. I can't remember if I'm still doing the artist me as a different person thing.
Look, I hate to get as dark as obsidian, but don't it always feel like we're at the edge of some oblivion? The silly men in bright costumes that cost you and cause fear, get you thinking at the end is always near, but honestly, this shit never ends. The division between brethren and all this spiteful dick measuring and etc, and besettling has been some meddling. Now, no playing around and saying the sound, the guards will start spraying some rounds and laying you down. But who's that child prodigy with conjectural technologies and no safety policies?
But the point is, I want to help people take rap seriously as a studied art form just like jazz and rock has been, and part of that involves digging into the nuts and bolts of how you construct and perform a rap verse. Because at the end of the day, I genuinely believe anyone can rap. Writing a good rap verse is hard, but it's not some mystical talent. It's a skill you can actually learn and improve on. And that's why I'm now offering private rap masterclass coachings, where we break down your flows, your writing habits, and what you specifically need to work on to level up. And if you're a rapper out there, I know you're tired of wasting time with showing your music to your friends who are either going to be too nice about it so you won't get real feedback, or they don't have the vocabulary to show you what issues they have with your songs, so they just kind of say they don't like it but can't tell you why. So why not holla at your boy? Now, different rappers are going to need to work on different things. For instance, these guys just need pointers on punchlines and whatnot, but there are others who have problems with their flows or their rhyme patterns, but no matter who you are, it is absolutely possible to level up your writing if you're intentional about it. So hit that Ko-fi link if you're interested. The next 5 people who head over to ko-fi.com/rapcritic, you'll get 50% off of your first session. That's just $60 to get real actionable feedback. But okay, let's get into this week's song, No Lies by Helios and Jijo Sengupta. So, since they requested the review, I asked them to send me some info about them so I could check out some of their other stuff, and I came across a typical indie YouTube page. You know, not many views or subscribers, but hey, it's expected, because he's just starting out, right? But then I saw something I wasn't expecting on an indie rap page. A track with fucking Snoop Dogg on it.
Spit it to him, but very comprehensible. It's written down, all in my literature.
Like, whoa, how the hell did that happen? Although, apparently, the Jijo dude is a filmmaker who recently has been nominated for several Cannes Awards, so hey, guy's probably making some money moves out here, but damn, I just really was not expecting to see Snoop Dogg's name in the indie rap review video. Well, moving on to the actual song, the first thing to note is that these are 2 Indian MCs, which is something you virtually never see in a mainstream context. Like, there's Punjabi MC, who's made a lot of really cool hip-hop Bhangra fusion joints, and then, Huna Mankind had a big viral hit. then, yeah, after that, it's pretty hard to think of another Indian artist on that level of crossover appeal. So in that respect, I like that the rappers on this track are using their authentic accents when rapping.
Never told a lie and I won't start now. Bleeding the desire that I won't start now.
I imagine it's pretty tempting to pull an Iggy Azalea and hide your accent for mainstream appeal, but I commend them for being real about it. Like, just to note the visuals, I do like how there's pretty crisp, clean video production for an indie joint going on here. The swinging lights are definitely a nice flourish. However, despite that authenticity I recently mentioned, there are definitely parts of the video that can come off as a little hokey with the rap video trope puffy jackets and sunglasses, you know, trying to fit the mold of a typical rap song video deal. But you get the feeling they're not exactly trying to take themselves too seriously anyways. Yeah, with stuff like that. Oh.
Damn, I hate liars so much.
Okay, well, I guess he's really gonna like this honest review.
Hey bro, listen, bring the beat back, yeah? I know what you need.
Alright.
Yeah. Even so, there's still a lot to be said for making fun music that commits to the bit and is presented in a way that's still a good time for the listener, right? Well, let's break down their approach and see what they did. Now, first off, I enjoyed the flow of the wordplay on the chorus. For the most part, it does a good job of providing what I call rhyme satisfaction, which just means using rhyme schemes that sound pleasing to the ear. It's like the difference between rhyming needle with diesel as opposed to rhyming turtle with bundle. Like, yeah, the last syllable technically makes it rhyme, but the fact that the first syllables of those words don't match makes the overall rhyme feel less satisfying to hear, you know? So let's hear the full hook.
Never told a lie and I won't start now. Bleeding the desire that I won't start now. Leaning a bit higher so I don't fall down. Greasing up the tires so I don't stop now.
So, like I said, for the most part, the rhyme satisfaction is really good here. We have structured rhyme schemes where the fleeting the desire, leaning a bit higher, greasing up the tires, that all sounds good together. The one thing that feels a little incomplete is the first phrase is set up with never told a lie, because it feels incomplete against the desire and higher rhymes. Like, if he said never been a liar, that would have struck a little cleaner for that initial rhyme satisfaction. And sure, on the end of the rhyme scheme sentence, he rhymes start now with itself, but it's a hook anyway, so that type of repetition is acceptable. Now, as far as the actual content of the hook, I think it's solid enough. It's setting things up to be that grind set playlist music about ambition and drive and all that, as well as the desire to always be truthful while doing so. Although the phrasing is maybe a teensy bit confusing.
Never told a lie and I won't start now. Bleeding the desire that I won't start now.
Cause what does that second phrase like actually mean? You're fleeting the desire that you won't start lying? Cause fleeting just means something quick or short, like a fleeting glimpse of something. Like, I can assume from context he must mean that he's like running away from the temptation of lying, but as it's phrased, it doesn't really make direct sense. However, the big rule when it comes to phrases like this is, if it sounds cool, it's fine. Like, when you're writing esoteric shit like this where you use certain words or phrases because it sounds cooler than it made sense, as long as it flows nice as fuck into the rhyme scheme, you let it rock. You know, give the YouTube nerds something to dissect in their videos. I'm just saying, if the people respond because what you said was impactful enough to warrant a response, you did your job.
Oh my God! I can't believe this.
Now, that said, where things start to fall apart for me are as we get into the verses.
Never told a lie, I don't move that way. Women come around, but the real ones stay.
See, the problem with the first guy, Jijo, is mainly that he just doesn't say anything that interesting.
Then my lines, let it cut it through the smoke. Everybody chasing fame, but they're playing it broke.
These are all just kind of generic lines about fame and chasing dollars. There's no funny punchlines or clever turns of phrase to liven things up, so the first half of the track ends up feeling bland and flavorless because of that. Like, even taking into account that they're not trying to be serious, you still want to hear some witty wordplay that makes your verse stand out every couple of bars. Now, I'm not saying every line's gotta be a punchline, but in the flow of your verse, every 4 bars, it's wise to always think of how you can punch up a phrase to make it worth the listener's while. Because if not, what makes you distinguishable from the millions of other rap songs out there that are also about fame and chasing money?
Loyal to the grind, don't trip, don't choke. If you're living by the lies, then your story's a joke.
Like with these lines, you could get the same idea across, but just punch them up a little more for impact. Like, these are generic lines about working hard and being on your grind, right? Oh, okay, then the line could have been, I be on my grind like a coffee maker. Then rhyming with something about salty haters, and voila, you got an interesting bar with a punchy quip and a fun multi-syllabic rhyme pattern to match. Now, I know talking about someone's own music can be a sensitive topic, so to be fair to the artist, I reached out to them to show them the script, and he wanted to push back on some of my criticism here, noting that, quote, the song is intentionally simple and anthem-like as a deliberate artistic choice rather than a lack of complexity. And you know, that is an element of writing lyrics for songs for mainstream appeal, where you want to strike that balance of making something that's specific enough to feel like a real experience, but general enough that you can reach that wider audience. And while I do think there's value in that as a songwriting goal, even simple lyrics still have to hit sharply and have impact. And for me, me, these rhymes just felt kind of flat in terms of really sticking to my ears. That said, I can only give my opinion from my experience as a writer and listener of how the words hit me, but hey, I'm not the be-all end-all of how these things sound. In fact, I'd encourage y'all to drop down in the comments and give your take on how these lyrics hit for you. Be civil, of course, but I think there is importance to having a dialogue about evaluating the quality of music for yourself, finding the words for why you feel the way you feel. However, I do have to say, the next guy, Helios, comes in with way more lyrical ambition than the previous guy.
Climb to the top lage jaise ki main hiker, but I stay grounded, MotoGP biker.
Like already, you've got two interesting wordplay punches that endear you to the ideas he's trying to get across.
Mind in my business, tu bhi kabhi try kar, don't jack shit unless I'm fixing up the tires.
And again, some more excellent wordplay to help him make his point about how he doesn't rip off anyone else's style, while also keying us into him being a dude who's good with cars. So you get what I mean, right? Wordplay like this might be simple, but it's engaging and gives you a quick little insight into his world. He then raps a couple of bars in Hindi, but even then I can hear the rhyme satisfaction of a strong two-syllable rhyme scheme there. And it seems like he's saving the most revealing bars for when he's rapping in Hindi, which works as an indication of the intimacy of those emotions, as he's bearing a vulnerable side, but in a way that probably resonates stronger for him when he's saying it in his original native language. Like, whoa, hey, I read those subtitles. That was way more emotional than anything else he was rapping about. Unfortunately, the way he rounds out the verse kind of puts a damper on the enjoyability factor, because it just ends like this.
Yeah, it was great. Listen, baby, can I steal?
And it's like, oh, that was it? The final bar is just, after meeting once, she said, yeah, that was great. Can I see more? Like, why is he wording it so bland like that? Like, this is supposed to be a chick who's hungry for his dick, and not a hiring manager reviewing his portfolio. I'm just saying, if you're wrapping up your final verse, you want to leave a mark. Something funny, something sharp, something that makes people go, oh, damn, I wouldn't have thought of that. Because when you go out on such a dud of an ending line, it leaves you with that underwhelming feeling like, oh, that was it? All right, whatever, next song. And you don't want that. Even if you're just making some basic, I'm hitting the club or I'm on my grind type joint, the last line is your chance to punch things up and separate yourself from the millions of other people making the same type of song. That little extra effort could be the difference between someone wanting to run it back or someone hitting the skip button. Well, overall, I give this a 2.5 out of 5. It's a solid enough effort, especially from the second MC, but on the average, the lyricism is just not up to snuff from a bar-to-bar standpoint. That said, I do gotta give props for putting your music out there to be critiqued in the first place. I know that's nerve-wracking, but hopefully in this review I made it clear what I think works, what doesn't, and why. Well, that's the episode. Oh, and of course, if you want to get access to all my upcoming material, like reviews, podcasts, or the new music I'm working on, because I just uploaded a parody of a Wu-Tang song that I'm really goddamn proud of, or if you just want to join the RC Discord, head on over to patreon.com/rapcritic and check out what your boys got in store. Well, till next time, I'm the Rap Critic. You don't have to like my opinion, but I'll take the wackest verse and make it better, cause when you upgrade your lyrical pen, then you can begin to master rhyming.
Criminal minded, you've been blinded. Looking for a style like mine, you can't find it.